Tonight, technology's double-edged sword with regards to fraud. How has technology increased the amount of fraud that we have to struggle with every day? And in what ways has technology allowed us to deal with it in better ways? That and a lot more on the Rundown. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. It's good to see you. It's good to see all of my friends here with me tonight. Hello, Tamara.
Hello, David. How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's good to see you tonight.
To be here.
Today for you.
Today. It's today for me
not
still.
Quite tonight.
It's kind of early evening.
Yeah. I distinctly remember when, right after my wife and I got married, we went on our honeymoon, and someone else said to me, we got married on a Saturday night. Someone else said to me, we got married Saturday night too. And I was shocked by that because from my perspective, the only thing that happened that past Saturday night in the world, in the galaxy, was that my wife and I had gotten married. And so I have such a difficult time getting out of my own time zone, my own time frame, and imagining that others may not be where I am in space and time.
I feel like Zoom time zone is like everybody's time zone at the same time.
That's really interesting.
So when people go, oh, what time is it for you? I'm like, it's Zoom time. Like, we're all
It's
here.
Zoom time. You know what? That's what I'm using from now on. That's fantastic. I love that so much. And here's my good friend Tony on Zoom time with me. He's actually also on Eastern time, but he's on Zoom time too. How you doing, Tony?
I am great, David. Glad to be with you in the panel tonight. Looking forward to this conversation.
Absolutely. I'm also looking forward to talking to our good friend Lois. Hi, Lois. Oh, you're muted, Lois. You're muted. Oh, my goodness.
I am not muted.
No, you're not.
Just couldn't
You are
hear me.
not muted.
I have had to stop saying you're muted to people on Zoom. I say your mic's off. It's much more polite.
There you go.
Yeah.
Your mic's off.
Anyway, it's summer. It's still sunny outside, and I'm having a great time.
There you go. I love it. How about Mr. Dave over here, our Dancing Dave? How are you, sir?
Well, I'm real good. And interestingly, you talk about a wedding. On the day I got married, a colleague of mine in the same business was getting married as well. And people had to choose as to which wedding to go to.
No.
And when we were having our pictures taken in this very large park, his limo pulled up and all his people came out and they took our spot after we were done with it. And
that's
so
hysterical.
Hamish and I traded places and had married on the same day. So,
oh my gosh, yeah. That's fantastic. I love that. Oh my goodness. And finally on our panel tonight, Mr. Sky Gleason.
Finally.
How you doing?
I just was teasing somebody about the word but. My friend Graham Kara says, oh, I love you. However, go sell my film. And it's like, okay, everything what you just said means the word but, and what you really meant was you love me if I do a thing. But
yeah,
from you, David, I know you love me.
Oh, no.
There's no but.
Ours is true, my friend. Ours is true. Absolutely.
I see you, sir.
It's true, and it's time to jump into the news, my friends.
Go.
We got no time. We have no time because literally just before I turned it off, sorry. Literally just before we went live, I got my tech meme email, and the the top news story is the NASDAQ closes down 4%, with Meta down 7%, Nvidia down 6%, Amazon down 5%, and Apple down 4%. As the White House says, Trump's tariffs on China now total 145%. So, I'm glad that I just bought a new computer last fall and that I don't need a new phone anytime soon, because I have a feeling that these tariffs, even with the sort of last minute reversal on some of the smaller ones, I have a feeling this is going to really hit tech hard, and that we're going to have a hard time. You know, it took us a long time to recover from the pandemic because of
Supply line. and
supply
that,
lines.
Supply
Yeah,
line chip shortages.
and yeah, and
Define long time. Define long time. You have
no,
an
you're
interesting.
right. Long time in the tech world, certainly. I think no.
This
That's
is my
5 months.
yeah.
Oh yeah, in the internet life of a thing, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, what's your take? Is tech going to be hurt any harder than anything else because they're focusing on China and Vietnam and places like that?
Well, I feel it's going to
Broad
hit
word.
agriculture more than anything.
Say it one more time.
It's going to be agriculture that hurts the most first.
Okay.
And
That
I
will
think
hurt us
tech-
the most.
Tech is too broad a term to be overgeneralized like that. There's lots of different.
Right. Well, I'm talking about
things out there.
Nvidia, Meta, Amazon, Apple. You know,
The big seven.
look.
yeah.
Apple lost what, several $100 billion in market cap or something. I don't even understand
yeah.
what this stuff means. I don't have
Yeah,
any
it's
money in the
2.5
market,
trillion.
but-
It was 3. you know.
If Amazon can't get the instant product
Right.
that it used to, I think that's going to be the bigger hit
Mhm.
because we have become commoditized
Yeah.
as
Mhm.
as Google's product.
The bigger
Amazon
hit for
product.
Amazon is the mailing discount. That small
Right.
packets no longer get in for free.
And so actually what's interesting is that what I just read about this, that generally they onshore supply because it saves them, but it's something about the tariffs is they're not going to be able to save that money when they onshore. So they'll, like you said, they'll be ordering in smaller amounts. I don't remember what that story was exactly.
Well, it used to be the post office did not charge for small packets. There was no duty on it. And that way, people like Temu and Cheyenne and the rest could sell little things. So clothing can be packed really small, and if it's not very heavy, there's no duty or tariff on it. Duties are different than tariff,
Gotcha.
but
Okay.
there's no duty on it. And it managed to get them lots of profit overseas, and they could list on Amazon and send small packets on behalf of what people were buying on Amazon. So Amazon wasn't well, they were delivering the last leg, but they would order them on Amazon and they would be shipped in and distributed all across the continent.
But
so
isn't
that's
that changing
different now? Yeah, they took it off, and they want to raise a duty and raise money by charging for the smaller packets now, as well as just the big bales.
I think I see my future, David.
Yeah.
It's eBay.
eBay.
Because all of the things that we have that are now stockpiled because we just kept ordering the Amazon crap and it just kept showing up and kept showing up and kept showing up. Did I say it kept showing up?
Mm-hmm.
Now I can resell it for a profit
On
because
eBay.
Oh, my next door neighbor makes a
eBay.
killing doing that.
keep
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Talk me into it.
Yeah. But look, I think that even Apple is concerned. You know, what was it, the story about the three ships of product that they fast tracked to get over here before the tariffs went into place. I mean, I think there are two issues here. One issue is the tariff itself, or the tariffs themselves, and the additional cost. Actually, three issues. Sorry, that's one issue. I think the second issue is the volatility and not knowing. I think the third issue, it has to do with the goal of this. You know, there was it wasn't Peter Navarro. I'm trying to remember who it was. Someone was speaking the other day and was talking about the goal here is we want to get those manufacturing jobs back. We want our people screwing in the little screws on the bottoms of iPhones. And then he quickly sort of shifted and said that's all going to be with robotics.
Automated.
That's all going to be automated, right? But we want the people fixing and I was the whole time I'm thinking to myself, are those really the jobs that we want? Do we if making an iPhone in America, the iPhone would easily cost $2,000 instead of $1,000.
We have two Home Depots within 6 miles of each other. I went into one and it was full of riding lawnmowers. I went into the one near me, there was no riding lawnmowers. And I said, so why don't you have riding lawnmowers? And he said, well, because the people in this neighborhood hire somebody else to cut their grass. We don't have a market for riding lawnmowers. So my thing I want to throw into this is need versus want. During COVID, we found out what we needed and we lived with what we had. Now we had a lot of wants. So in the philosophical thing that I do,
Yeah.
it's like, really? Do we need all this?
One of the things I think
I
that
get
people
whiny.
should do is follow the money. So there's all these tariffs, 100 and over 100% tariff that doubles the price of things. Who's getting that extra 100% of the money?
Right.
Where's it going? I think it's going into, well, some part of the government.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I think the bigger, I think that's a fair question. Where's the money going? The bigger question for me is, where's it coming from? And it's coming from
Well, it's
my
coming
pocket.
from the
It's
people
coming
who buy the
from
products.
It's coming from my pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
what I was going to say, is that the other half of that doubling of cost is paid domestically, not by the Chinese.
Yep.
They sell it for the same price they
Yeah, none
always
of it's
did.
paid
They
for
just,
by the Chinese.
and then you guys are now being taxed more to fill the coffers of the government in order to pay down a debt. That's what's happening.
eBay.
I just think the
That's
promise
Yeah.
eBay's the future.
the promise doesn't equal, because you can't have tariffs and create jobs. Like, that doesn't actually, they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
So if your goal is to create jobs, and you got to put money down on infrastructure, and you've got to start building things in play, you can't take everything away and go, hey, look, we now have a need here, we'll start jobs. That's a long-term plan. And this is a short-term solution. So I don't know what the outcome is, and no one's really clear on what that is. And the people who are going to be hurt are the people, listen, people who have money are not buying from Temu. People who do not have money are buying from Temu because they are saving money. So we're really putting a tax on people who need cheaper goods.
I do think that there's going to be I think there's going to be some hurt in the tech world. I'm not really concerned about the number of iPhones they sell. That doesn't concern me. I'm really more concerned with the jobs and the creative work that we
I have
do.
I have a prognostication.
Uh-oh.
Since all of I know, I said it almost. I believe that our used iPhones that will have not now being, handed in every 12 months, will hang on to them, and then the rest of the world will go Android, and we will just be a little island of iPhones.
Now, why do you think that iPhones are going to get tariffed and Androids are not?
Oh, no, they are. They are.
Yeah. So
Well,
why would
hold on a second.
No.
If
The
they
rest
sell
of the
them in
world.
China,
So my point is, when I hand in my iPhone, they don't crunch it up, they polish it up and send it and resell it to the third world, Haiti, blah blah blah, anywhere. And so they recondition them, and they continue to go on. But what I'm saying is, now I'm killing that supply chain to the third world. It's my fault.
you guys know that Apple sells phones outside of America. You know that too, don't you?
Yes.
And they're the biggest seller of phones in the world next to Samsung. And Samsung sells more Android phones than Apple does currently in the world. So it isn't they're going to lose market overseas. It's that American consumers are going to have to pay more for having an iPhone.
Right. And the difference between those two, though, is that Apple's largest market share is in the US, whereas Samsung's isn't. And so that's why Apple is, I don't know.
It'll change that. Yes.
Right. So
it'll change that
I don't
balance.
know if that means
Now, for a
they'll
long
take a bigger
time,
hit,
Apple
but-
was only a third of the amount, and then it moved to half, and then it went to 3/4, and now it's
only in America.
It's way up there. But
Right.
Since
Only
they're
in
making
America.
so
well,
much
I'm talking
money,
about the American market.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
since they're making so much money on Apple TV. Oh, sorry.
No.
Oh yeah.
Quick hello to Tlalak, who's watching. He says global trade is a good thing. I agree. Gary Lund, hello. Alex Knight, good to see you. This is a crazy story. This is a crazy story. So a guy walked into a courtroom. Guy walks into a courtroom.
Thought you were going to say a bar.
No, I was, but I changed my mind. Guy walks into a courtroom. I don't want to. I can't play this, but the counsel that he brought was an AI avatar that he had created. So the avatar was a stock option provided by an AI avatar company called Tavis DeWald says the video was submitted due to the difficulty he experiences with extended speaking. The courtroom was unaware that the video contents were artificially generated. The judge lost her mind. Absolutely lost her mind. I
She
don't
should have
appreciate
lost her
being
mind.
Say again?
She should have lost her mind.
She should have or shouldn't have?
She should have. It's illegal in New York to not have, if you can represent yourself or you can be represented by counsel.
Right.
You cannot be represented by fake things.
So there is another piece of this story, though, and that is that apparently this gentleman is trying to start a business about using AI as legal representation. So, you're not going to use this courtroom, she said, the judge said, as a launch for your business. It was, what was comical about
Makes
the
me
video,
think of another business idea I had, which was hiring scapegoats, and you could use AI people as scapegoats, and then they could go into boardrooms and be blamed for all the problems of the company.
There you go.
So,
I think the problem with in this little video that is a part of this article is that it was thoroughly unoriginal. Like the avatar they used was it's the one that we've all seen. I wonder if I can jump ahead just to the part so we don't get taken down. Let's see here. Just so you can see the avatar, because they do show it. There it is. It's right there in the corner. It's a little grainy, but this is an avatar we've all seen before. There was no originality to it. I mean, it seemed to me like he was just trying to skip the line and take the easy way out.
do you know why they have affidavits? Is so that some third party can verify that the information is correct. And they would need an affidavit that this is a real person in courtrooms
Right.
from now on. And
Right.
that's ridiculous.
Right. Well, and the first thing he said is, "Oh, that's not real. I made it up." Okay, let me take a step back though. Is there a problem? This would actually be a good conversation for us for another time. But about AI and what jobs AI can do. Can you imagine a day when you are represented by an avatar who
I want
has
Max Headroom to
access
represent me.
to all of the legal knowledge in the
Mhm.
world? Why would that be a
What
bad thing?
What I can imagine a world is similar to like LegalZoom, where you go and you say, here's information, here's legal information for you, but it's not attached to a lawyer necessarily. I can see a world where AI is advising people on how to defend themselves. I don't know that I want to see a world where we're defended by AI. And I told you last week where I had a letter back and forth with my car dealership who kept trying to get me to go in, and I was like, you are driving me nuts and you are not giving me actual information. And when I got to there, they're like, oh, just ignore that. And then a few days later, the other person who worked there said, oh, Diana Lee is actually an AI, she's not a person. And I'm like, well, you have to tell me that. So I would like to think that we could differentiate.
Yeah, let me get Lois in real
prove me.
quick. Lois, go ahead. Lois, you're muted again.
Your microphone is off.
I keep turning, thank you. I keep turning that off so I don't make funny noises in the room. The person who put up this avatar speaking for them obviously created it. They looked at it. They said, this is what I want to say, but I can't say it. So I'm going to have this recording say it. And it wasn't a recording of them because they don't speak that well. It was a recording that they made. I don't see a problem with that. That would be the same thing as having someone who didn't speak at all, having a person next to them going, and this is what they're trying to say.
Right.
I don't see a problem.
But the problem, Lois, is that it's not like he fed. Maybe he did, but I don't think it's that he gave the AI a script and it read it. I think
Right.
it's that if it was truly AI, what's magical about it is not that it could read a script, but that it could create a script. and present that.
Mhm.
That's actually that's an interesting distinction and an important distinction.
And the
Um,
judge approved him to use a recording
right.
because of a limitation. So the judge thought that what she was going to hear was a recording of something that he had said that was representing him because he couldn't speak for that amount of time. So I think if it was that, then she wouldn't have been upset. It's the fact that it was AI, which can supply extra information, that was the reason that she was upset.
Do
So
not
if
pay.
someone had if someone had a second person there saying what they wanted to say, would that be legal, or would that have
Well,
to
yeah,
have
that's
been
called the
an
That
lawyer.
attorney?
happens all the time.
That's
You
called
can
a
get a
lawyer.
translator. There are
Right.
official translators in the courtroom who will take Arabic and explain it to
Right.
the judge. Yeah.
So
And if
there's
that's what this was doing, that she gave that accommodation. He said, "Hey, I need to
He'll
have a video
represent.
speak for me." And she said, "No problem. I want to give you that accommodation so that you're well represented." And
Yep.
this then was acted as a lawyer, like thinking
Let's
on
see.
its own.
so the
Acting as a
FTC.
lawyer is different than speaking what I want
Correct.
to say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The FTC back in 2023 fined a company called Do Not. Sorry, they fined two attorneys in a law firm. Um, do not pay. I know this is different. Do not pay. A robot lawyer company was ordered to pay $193,000 in a settlement in February for advertising without evidence that its AI legal representation is as good as a real human lawyer. I gotta argue. I gotta tell you, it probably is. I mean,
There's a lot for lawyers.
I guess.
No, no. You know how many mistakes those AIs make just when
Not
no.
not as many as I mean, they are a heck of a lot better. They are light years better than when they were making all those mistakes and hallucinating. They still do. They still do. But
Hmm.
I mean, it's a different AI world. Tony, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking about it from a slightly different point of view. Um, if you are a person who is being defended by, let's say, a public defender, and the public defender is overworked and is tired and not having a good day, that would affect possibly the outcome of your situation in court. However, if you have an AI that is able to create the appropriate legal representation in court, doesn't matter whether or not you're overworked, it doesn't matter whether or not you're having a bad day. It is
It's a legal coach.
it
It's a
kind
lawyer.
of level things out.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I'm in this quandary sort of where things things with AI um, typically, and I know this is a generalization, but it seems like things that are evil, wrong, um,
Unfair.
unfair, disruptive
Hmm.
will embrace technology way ahead of time when people who are
Impressionable.
well, not so much impressionable, but from the standpoint of following the letter of the law. Um, and what I mean by that is let's talk about pornography.
Sure.
Really?
So, and I
We've
just
taken
want
a turn.
I just wanted to make a point. The point that I want to make is that they have gone all
Way
the
far.
way in,
Hmm.
all the way in on technology,
Hmm.
all the way in.
Pretty soon
And
there won't be people in pornography. There'll be animatronic folks. Yeah.
I'm not Dave. I'm not trying to go there. But what I
No,
but
but
what
in
I
the
am
legal
saying,
sense, yeah.
but what I am saying is when it comes to the things, and I hate to bring this up, but when it comes to things of worship, houses of worship, and we drag our feet.
Yeah. We want to get it right.
We drag our feet, but
We're not going to jump right in. Yeah.
but the other side,
Sure.
Mhm.
they go all the way.
You know,
Yeah.
you know,
And so
It makes an assumption that the AI lawyer is trained to do good. And if by chance your AI lawyer was not trained to do good, then it would not
right, but you
represent
can have a lawyer who's a crappy lawyer
There's
too.
there's my
I mean,
it's
Gary Lund.
But you can check on the lawyers because they've had training. You know where they are. They
You
put
can
up
check
the
on
thing on the
AI
wall.
Bar
too. You know where
exam,
the AI
yeah.
got his training.
yeah, I
Gary
want the
Lund is
AI
saying-
that
You know that
give me
the
the
coaches
AI
you.
that's won cases.
Gary Lund.
I want the
That
AI
wins
that's won a
cases. Yeah,
certain amount of
absolutely.
cases.
Gary Lund
Yeah.
on YouTube. Hold on. Says you get a ticket from a camera on a pole. He's
Mhm.
right.
what's that got to do with this?
The idea that you don't need a cop to stop you and give you a ticket.
Well,
Right.
hold on a second. You got a ticket from a pole because you did a mechanical thing wrong. That's a repeatable offense, and it's easy to track. When you're in a courtroom, it's all nuance and facts, and the nuance usually wins.
Okay.
Having represented myself in court many times and other people helping them appear in court, this is the whole notion. If you have not done your homework, if you don't know the rule of law and you don't know how the proceedings go, you lose. But if you have everything in place and you've done your homework and you had a good coach, you can represent yourself.
Sometimes. Lois, go ahead.
So
And-
I want to clarify where David said that this $193,000 settlement was because the company was saying the AI was as good as a real human. What it actually was is that the legal research done by that company was wrong, and that's why they got that settlement.
So Microsoft is 50 years old this week.
Happy
Gates-
birthday to
Bill
you.
Gates is very happy. And the thought that came to mind was the quote that I fairly solidly believed was a real quote. Who would ever need a computer on their desk? Theoretically is credited to Bill Gates. And before I interrupted the crowd, I thought maybe I should check that out. And sure enough, according to AI Overview on Google, it says, no, that's not a real thing. And that's a misquote of Bill Gates. And it wasn't his quote. The famous quote that they wanted to tell me about Bill Gates is, success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose. Now, which of those two quotes do you want to believe as fact or opinion? And this is what I'm hearing the argument is fact or opinion. Now, Dave's point is a poll. We have a social contract that octagonal red thing that says STOP on it is a privilege for us to motor around in a $3,000 in our 3,000 pound machine that could kill somebody. So somehow socially we have all said, let's follow these rules so that we don't run people over. And so there's my quandary about opinions versus social contracts.
This is going to lead us a little bit into the main topic, but it just dawned on me as you were saying that, Sky, that because you talked about nuance and truth. One of the things that AI is really good at is convincing you that it knows what it's talking about when it has no idea what it's talking about. And so
it has no ideas
right,
at all. But it's not a person.
But what I'm saying is when it's hallucinating, it can be incredibly convincing that it's true. Think about
Cameron has talked about
how powerful,
retraining it to be more
but think about
honest.
Forget retraining it. Think about how powerful that skill is. The skill of convincing others that you're right, even though you may not be. Think about how powerful a skill that is. To have
I'm
in the
with you
courtroom.
on that. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
They call them
Which
sociopaths.
Which means AI is going to make a great, powerful fraudster.
Mhm.
It could be, but before we do that, hold on. I got a notification here.
Help?
I have. Oh, I didn't update my lower third, did I? No, I didn't.
Nope.
No, you didn't.
No,
That's
well,
last time.
forget it. Just forget it. Here's my problem. I've notifications. It's not just notifications. It's this idea that it's likes, it's notifications, it's comments, it's chat. Even this afternoon, I was driving home watching a live stream of someone that I enjoy watching. And no, let me change that. I was not, no, start, just wait. I was listening to a live stream. No, I was not watching it. I was listening to it, okay? At a stop sign, I jumped in the chat. Why? Because I know that this live streamer will call people out if they post something in the chat. And I wanted to be called out. I wanted my name, I wanted to be seen. And I think that lots of people feel this way. And that these notifications, these dings, every time we get a ding, it's a little hit of dopamine, right? It's a little shot of ooh, I matter. But I'm becoming a little too reliant on that. I'm falling into this trap of looking for every new opportunity to
Got a new addiction for you.
sign
David.
up. Yeah.
I've got a new addiction.
Oh
I
God.
just found out with this theology and arts group that I'm connecting with people in Philippines and Hong Kong and Australia, New Zealand. We are the tiny little speck on the planet over here because I was just introduced to WhatsApp,
What's
the
that?
connecting tool that the rest of the planet
Everyone else
is using.
Is
uses
using.
it.
And
Just
I
got
now
involved with what you. Where have you been?
WhatsApp. Yes.
Where have you been? Like I've been on
wow,
WhatsApp for
shame.
years.
Look at you. Just oh,
Well,
He's got that little ball on the chain there that slows him down. He doesn't get to tech as soon as we do.
Okay, so tell me. So what's the glory about WhatsApp?
well, it is again that you wanting to be connected.
Wait a
You're
second.
telling me
Are
you want to
just-
be heard.
This is not helpful. You just gave me something else that I now.
I
need to-
told
I'm gonna
you
get
I have the
dings
new
and dupes
addiction.
and-
Yeah.
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 Sky.
You're welcome.
Join the
No.
world there, David.
But look
Join
what
the
you did.
world.
You immediately not shamed me, but you immediately went on the where have you been?
Yeah.
And so this is the
Yeah,
again.
where's
I continue
David
to-
been?
The true drug is FOMO. Is my
Right.
theory.
Yeah.
And
no, I think you're right. I think it is.
so
They say that gamblers have big FOMO. They want to be in the
and
next
fear of
toss,
missing
you
out
know?
for those that don't
Yeah.
aren't
There's
cool
a
enough.
there's
to
a
know.
win there waiting for me, and I'm going to go get it. Yeah.
Has technology
And FOMO
has,
is also part of that dopamine thing. When I first joined OH, I was loaded with it.
yeah.
I was finding my people, and they were saying the things I wanted to hear, and this was really reinforcing me. But then I had to learn discipline and tell myself, there's only a certain amount of time you want to spend with these OH people.
And
You
do
know
I
what's
want to
Because
stay
it's going to
married to
cost you a
that?
lot of money for one thing. But
You know what's
anyway,
interesting, Dave,
they're all
is
great
that
folks.
The same thing
Yeah.
happened to me with office hours. Is that I, for the longest time, killed myself to get on the panel once or twice a week, and it was really disruptive to my day because for me the panel is at 10 a.m. I mean, it's right smack in the middle of my day, but I had FOMO, and I wanted to be part of that club. And I'm so glad I did it. I mean, I have zero regrets, but there did come a time where I said, you know what, I just can't. That's I can be involved in different ways. Technology has absolutely made this all worse, though, right? I mean, the dings and the dupes and the lights and the notifications.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
No.
definitely no.
You're okay with it?
You're going to be addicted if you're going to be addicted. I mean,
Mm.
if you didn't have these 5 things and you only had text, you would text a lot more than you do.
Yeah.
If you only had email, maybe you'd set your alarms to go off periodically. Just you could give yourself a little hit. So it's you can't blame it on tech, David.
We moved
Yeah,
into a new
I
part of our house, and the microwave is a different style, and it will stop the process, and then the clock, you can see it's done, but it won't ding or buzz. and for like another 15, 20 seconds. So you have the opportunity to kind of reach the machine before it dings. But if you don't get to it, it will annoy the out of you for the next 20 minutes every 3 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with what Lois is saying because we do have technology that will control this. The iPhone has like 6 different focus modes that will stop all of those notifications. I have done briefly, and then suddenly they're all back again. So I do think that like we do have technology that can help us with that addiction
No,
too.
but I
They can
think
say, I don't want to be dinged during these hours of the day. I don't want these kinds of notifications. You have a lot of control over the
right, but
notifications that
Tam, I
you
think my
have.
point is that yeah, I could turn them off. You're right, but then we
But
get right back into
want them.
FOMO,
right.
You
and that
choose
fear of
not
missing
to.
out, and you know, I'm going to miss a notification about this, or I'm going to miss a, you know, I when I get a Nate notification, like I kind of drop everything that I'm doing, and I jump onto TikTok or wherever he is, and maybe you're right. Maybe I kind of misnamed this problem. It's not so much about the notifications. It's FOMO. I think you're right.
Mm,
And just
yeah,
so you know, the Seahawks just signed another player, and Kraken is playing on TV. I mean, I've got
there you go.
sports ready right here, baby.
24
Now
hours
I
a day.
did clear mine out. I like said, okay, I
Mhm.
don't want to be notified with the news. I want to go to that. I did all kinds of things. And then I went to follow Nate on Substack, and somehow I have not. I've got the wrong thing because now I have Substack every 2 seconds, and it's not Nate. It's
Oh,
all of
it's
these
everyone
people, and I
else.
I
Oh,
have to like sit down and like go
yeah.
and
Well, that's
reset
also
my
right. That's how they
notification.
get you. Right. That's how
Well,
they
and
get
that's
you.
the price of free, isn't it? Remember the things we used to subscribe and want?
No, she
Right.
paid.
Well,
Yeah,
this is
I paid,
She
but
paid.
I would be fine if it was just Nate. But as I paid, somehow I didn't have Substack. I got Substack because he was on it. But now I'm subscribed to tons of Substack because technology is so great. It took all of my stuff and just said, hey, here's
So,
all of the things you would like.
so here's another thing that you get to learn, Tamara, and that's how to turn off
I'm
Substack and then
ready
how
to
to
do
turn
it.
on the one thing.
Yes, that's exactly true. But I
Joe
feel like that's what happens is that happens and you don't have time to do that. And then after a while, you're really stuck with notifications every 5 seconds.
Joe Callie
Oh,
says you need to have 5 emails. With 2, you don't care who gets it, and 1 you keep for family, 1 for friends, and 1 for services or businesses you use.
Yeah.
email addresses
Yeah.
are wonderful things,
That's actually,
but
yeah,
that
I kind of
doesn't
do that.
solve David's problem.
No, I mean more email addresses means more dings.
and Tony's going to
You
wrap it out.
don't have
Tony's
Oh,
going to wrap
sorry,
it up.
No,
Tony.
no,
I got
it's
distracted by a notification. Sorry, Tony.
I was just thinking as everybody was talking that I think Lois and Tamara both said something about um, the idea that missing out is something that we go to something else when we if it would be something else if it wasn't technology,
Yeah.
and I agree with that from the standpoint that I before I got my first computer, I was reading books on what it would be like to have a computer. I was doing all of looking at Wired magazine, all of the PC magazine, everything that I could get my hands on, because I wanted to know what it was about, actually having a computer, how to use it, and that kind of thing. And then I didn't get a computer at home, but I got a computer at work. And so I found myself, after work was over, staying at work to play on the computer.
Right.
And so my wife got so mad, she said, I'm going to get you your own computer so you don't do that. And so, I got my own computer. And so it's the same thing before a computer when I was in school and I was studying religion. Every book I could find on religion, um, understanding Greek, New Testament Greek, and I bought these volumes, and I would have to buy them one at a time because I couldn't afford to buy the full set. And it there is always going to be something that you become.
Obsessed with. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to say addicted to, but
Yeah, it's okay.
I
It
look
isn't.
at it as a desire to continue to learn. Um, I call myself a lifelong learner. That's the way in which I kind of understand this whole thing that I'm in, because I'm constantly, you know, you look around at this system, and I would show it to you guys, but I don't have a camera to show you. But I originally came on office hours, and I had a 10-year-old MacBook, horrible
Mhm.
lighting,
Yeah.
sounded awful, everything that you could imagine I should not do. But I came on, and it was like I just had to do it. And now I have one, two, three, four,
Oh,
five
no,
monitors,
no.
four computers, ATEM Mini,
Stream
Stream
Deck.
Deck.
You bet. Yeah.
I
It's
And
the
you're
have
litany.
uh,
and you're still
music
not happy,
interface.
Tony.
Sing it, brother.
Are
Sing
you
it.
happy?
I
Are you
have all
happy?
of this stuff. I
Are
have
you
all
happy,
of this stuff.
Tony? Are you happy?
No, but listen,
He's
the
going
point
to explain his addiction here.
the point that I'm making is that part of the reason, and the initial reason that I got involved with Office Hours in the first place, was that it was at the pandemic. I had just got through cancer, a prostate
Mhm.
cancer, and I was going to the hospital.
Tony, do me a favor. You got so excited you
Push
leaned
your mic
forward
a
in
little
front of your
forward.
mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you're talking into
And
that
and
mic.
and the thing was that the church that I've been working with reached out to me because they could no longer have worship services. So I got into office hours, and I was asking tons and tons of questions: how to help this church, how to help this church.
Mhm.
And so all of this really was about moving them forward.
You know what?
And that's the way in which I can justify it.
Let's keep telling ourselves that. We're doing
Well, I
we
mean,
do
saw
all
it,
of this
but-
for others. You know what? That
But-
actually
but
makes me
David,
feel
but-
much better.
And all
Help?
not.
Stop.
Absolutely
Hold on.
not.
Wait, I'm calling it. Hold on.
yeah.
We
move
couldn't
on.
hear you. You were muted during the little video thing there.
I said absolutely not. I did not have to do all of this. No,
Yeah.
but
But
I'm in this situation because I really want to push the envelope. And I will be transparent and tell you that initially, when I was first on office hours, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed from the standpoint of, and I'm going to be transparent again. And at that time, I was one of very few of people that looked like me. And I did not like looking the worst on camera. I'm just I'm being
That's
transparent.
FOMO.
And
That's
and
but that's the good side of FOMO.
Totally.
Right.
That's the thing.
And you
Yeah.
weren't the worst, Tony. I mean,
No.
you
well,
upped your game.
I upped my
I'm
game,
still
Lois.
the way I was.
But
Yeah.
Lois, those initial days,
Yep, I know.
I was
there.
like I wanted to just crawl under a rock.
Okay.
And
hold on.
the great Mike Andrews said,
wrangling
"Hey,
this conversation back. I'm wrangling the conversation back.
Sorry about that.
So no, you've all made me feel better. I have no more FOMO, except for all the FOMO that I have. Roxco
But also don't text while
4
driving.
is telling us that, you know, all those emails we talked before. I just want to get this comment in. Sign up for stuff using the 2 emails you never check or listen to. That will keep your life more quiet unless you need to use that service, app, or form. That's interesting. I don't mind getting all this stuff. I just know that I archive it, and then if I need to come back to it, I come back to it. All right.
So the easiest thing to do with that is if you get on a Gmail account or you use a program that can automatically
Yeah.
sort and file.
Absolutely.
And then you don't have to look at all that stuff that you got about this strange little project you're working on unless you want to.
Let's talk fraud.
Oh,
because
fraud.
that's
Oh,
that's happy. And I'm gonna Lois, I'm gonna come to you. I'm gonna start with you on this because I know you have something you want to share about it. But just the background here is to think about the profound ways that technology has amplified the amount of fraud that we have to deal with on a daily basis. And yes, there was fraud before technology. There will be fraud after. Of course, it's not technology's fault. But in the same way that I continue to believe that the both the good and the harm that social media does is amplified, is 100 times X the pain that can be inflicted or the good that can be brought about from someone talking to their friend or sharing a message in a letter. The sheer size and scope of what we're able to touch and talk about and impact because of technology. The same is true for fraud. And yet there are also examples of how I was told once, for by way of example, that I should not use my debit card at gas stations because a lot of gas stations have skimmers. But you know what I can use without really any concern that someone's going to steal my information? I can pay with my Apple Watch or my Apple phone because it doesn't even use my actual debit card number. It creates a new one every time I use it to keep me safe. So there are also profound ways that technology has helped us. But let's start with you, Lois. What is your experience with this? What's your take on this?
okay. So y'all may know that for the last 20 years, I've had a radio show here in our little town in Davis, and it's called That's Life. And periodically, I will have people from the fraud squad. Well, that's not the official term. That's just what I call them. From the county office, the district attorney's office, and they'll come on the show and we will talk about what is the current things that are going around that people should know about and how to avoid being caught up in that sort of stuff. Or if something does happen, what to do about it, who to call, all that sort of stuff. And so we have talked about fraud in lots of different ways. Mostly, I deal with warning seniors about things. And I mean, really simple things like if someone phones you, don't give them any information or anything. And if they say they're from your bank, hang up on them, call your bank and see if someone's trying to reach you. That is like the simplest thing to keep you from getting scammed or whatever. So there's lots of frauds going out there, and the ones that have been around a long time include the ones where someone says, I've got a bunch of money for you, but you'll have to pay X, Y, or Z for a fee to get the process started. Like prime the pump with $200 and I'll send you 2,000, that sort of thing. There are ways that people approach you, and generally it includes urgency and penalties. So if someone calls you up and says, you had a parking ticket, you never paid it, the sheriff's office is going to come and take you and put you in jail unless you pay up right now. I can take your money over the phone, sure. No, it's a fraud. So
Another thing I would throw out is that I got, let's see, I'm looking through my email right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6 emails today from someone named Morgan Lewis Law. It's a Google Drive share. So it's called Debt Control from Tucon Fazurith 1998 at Farview notifyalertsystems.com.
yeah.
Yeah, guys, here's another thing. Look at email addresses.
Oh, yeah.
Look at where they're coming from. Very often, the easiest thing to spot is if it's coming from some email that doesn't make sense or that you don't recognize.
Don't copy and paste anything that you get in one of those, because a lot of times you'll get something where the address looks right, but maybe it has a 0 instead of an O or something like that. Something where it looks like it's your bank or your company that you're trying to deal with, but it's not. So again, I recommend to all my clients, if you have a bank account, have a piece of paper written on with, you have the phone number of the office of the bank or your credit cards or whatever you have, whatever companies you deal with, have those written down so you never have to go and look it up on the internet. You're always dealing with something that you have in your control and you know you're talking to the right people.
One of the things that the ways that technology has made what you were just describing, Lois, so much worse is the profound ways that it can. You don't have to be an older, non-technological person to get faked out anymore.
That's right.
That it can fake out,
Yep.
especially with AI, with deep fakes and AI impersonations, it can fake out lots of people. All of us.
Even just
All
a
of
phone
us.
number.
Right.
If you get a phone number and you've got one of those nice little phones that tell you who's calling, well, they can pretend to be from
Right.
someplace other than where they are. I actually had someone phone my phone number, talk to me and said, I'm blocking you because you did such and such. And I had to explain to them, no, that was a fake phone number because they were trying to appear local so that you would answer the phone. It wasn't me. But that's been going on for 10, 15 years. And now we're getting into having videos and
Right.
sounding like someone you know. And so it's getting worse, David. It's
Yeah,
getting
I agree.
worse.
Sky, go ahead.
What's deep fake? Define deep fake for me, David.
Um,
Because again, I when I said keywords, we are in such a fluid and rapidly changing world. I want to make sure that we're all speaking a language that we can trust each other until we can't.
So this is from Forbes. This is an article back from 2019. A voice deepfake was used to scam a CEO out of $243,000. It's the first noted instance, it says, of an artificially intelligent generated voice deepfake used in a scam. I'll bring up, here we go.
And
So,
things have changed so much since 2019.
Right, right.
Like we're
Oh.
so much better at it now.
Yeah.
So
So the article, according to a report in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the CEO of an unnamed UK-based energy firm believed he was on the phone with his boss, the chief executive of firms the German parent company, when he followed the orders to immediately transfer 220,000 euro. Is that euro? Yes, that's
Yeah.
euro, I think, to the bank account of a Hungarian supplier. The voice belonged to a fraudster using AI voice technology to spoof the German chief executive. So that's a deep fake, right?
And now the deep fake has gotten more deep,
Far
so
more.
that you can take a video of a person, a real person who you know and trust, and make the mouth speak differently and make the words coming out be the words that the fraudster wants you to hear. So you really think it's that person, but it's not.
So why do you trust the article, David?
Because it comes from a reputable source.
Keep talking.
Well, it comes from a
How do you
reputable
know
source.
it's a reputable source?
I'm sorry?
How do you know it's a reputable source?
I know it's a reputable source in the same way that sacred text in my world, why do we believe certain sacred texts and we don't believe other certain sacred texts? Because lots of people have been holding on to this text for longer than that one. I mean, if Forbes continues to be around, if the New York Times continues to be around because hundreds of thousands of people are reading it, that's a reliable source.
So what I hear you saying is it's because it came from Forbes. And the question is, did you go to the Forbes website and find this thing? Or did someone else send you a link to something that looks like Forbes? That's where we're talking about fraud.
Okay. So that's a really good point. So let me tell you exactly how I got to this. I went to ChatGPT and I went to ChatGPT 4.5, which is their newest model. And I clicked on deep research, and then I put in what I want to learn about. And when you do that with deep research, you get all the information and it gives you all the links. And so then I took all that deep research and I said, okay, do me a favor. Let's trim this down a little bit. Let's put it into the form of show notes that I can share with my friends here. And then I opened and I linked to it. Now I could have just read to you what the AI wrote to me, which it says here, but the link was right there. I could follow that link. How do I know that it's the actual site? I mean, other than the fact that right now I'm getting a Forbes ad on the site. That's sort of a dead giveaway. That
Yeah, that's a giveaway. That's authentic right there.
That I'm on the right place, right? I mean, you're right. I use the banner. I use the URL over here. But
we're pretty sophisticated that way, right? We've been around the block a couple of times, and we know these things are out there. We know that the attack targets are people who see themselves on YouTube and that sort of stuff, and also it's the sit-at-home people who do not have a lot of contact with other people and therefore may be more trusting when it comes to getting a call about something that they think they're important about. I remember running a little joke on a friend of mine at a radio station around the news department, and he and I had worked together earlier, and he got this job at the radio station. I hadn't talked to him in a long time, and one day I phoned him up, and I made the reputation that I was Constable Knight from the RCMP, and I'm investigating a friend of yours named Chris, and I wonder what you can tell him about me. And I'm from K Division, which is the local division, and he got real firm with, okay, well, what do you want? And he was ready to give me whatever information I asked about his friend. And then I had to break it to him that it's Dave playing a joke on you. And, we had a good laugh about it since, and we've seen each other since, and he's forgiven me. But it was so obviously a fraud, but only from my side of the phone. On his side of the phone, he gets calls from the police and people like me all the time. And if you identify the correct K division and you give him a constable's name that sounds reasonably good, he was prepared to go with it. And I don't know how far along I could have strung him, but this is the kind of thing fraud is meant to do, is to target you for things that they know about you. So as Lois has correctly said, don't tell anybody anything about your family over the phone if they ask how you're doing. Don't say anything about how you are. Just, in fact, sometimes don't say hello. Just let them start. And then if they come with, they need information from you, that's it. That's and the other side, she said, is correct. Urgency is all part of the game, and making you make a fast decision. Best advice my wife ever gave me is don't write that email. Walk around for a while because you're angry or whatever. Yeah. And the same goes for fraud. If you at least suspect that that's not from the Financial Times or Forbes, that solicitation, and you'd want to think about it, just get up out of your chair, go for a walk, come back, make a cup of coffee, come back, and then you probably had time to process, this doesn't sound right, and then investigate.
My traveling to your country, David, allowed me to learn how to not overshare. Because the people at the border don't care about your life. They just want your passport. Are you real? Go on. They wanted what took you so long to get here, the travel trick. They don't care. They don't care.
You were trying to give them you were trying to make friends.
Oh,
Scott.
I had a whole thing. I had a story. They didn't care.
The key factor in fraud is also fear, right? Because fraud without fear people won't click on things. They're going to check things out. They don't sound really, but really they're playing on fear that if you don't pay this ticket, that you're going to do this. They're playing on two things, fear or empathy. Either, the old, send $2,000 to, help this poor person who can't do whatever the poor person can't do, is playing on your empathy as a human, that you don't want to see someone in pain. But the other side of it, which is really where things are getting very scary, is if your daughter calls you at home and says, Dad, I'm in trouble, and it's your daughter's voice, then that is a very, very powerful
terrifying
form of fraud. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's
and
terrifying.
It is playing on fear.
Right down your street. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
Joe Callie in the chat was saying that large companies actually do phishing attacks on their own employees just for training purposes, which is
Please
fascinating.
define phishing.
Please define phishing. Go ahead.
It's exactly what we've been talking about. Like they'll send a text or an email that says, this is so-and-so, you need to do these things. And then it's attached to some kind of nefarious
Right.
link
They're
or,
throwing bait in the water and hoping that a
Right.
fish latches onto it, an unsuspecting
So
fish. Yeah.
And
I
a
want,
solution to the family member is a password or a keyword that
Right.
you have given to your
We have
family
one in our
members.
house. Yes.
Keep
Yeah.
talking. Yeah, absolutely.
The Gary Lund was saying that when it comes to links, because phishing can happen on the phone, it can happen
Right.
in lots of different places with links. He says that if you hover over the link before you click it, you should never click links you don't know. But if you hover over the link, the link will oftentimes say, visit bankofbanks.com. But when you hover over the link, you can see where it's actually taking you. And where it's actually
Right.
taking you is usually not where it says it's taking you.
Yeah, you can right click as well.
Yeah.
yeah. So I want to, since we have such a huge audience, I want to give you an example of a common fraud. So I'm an artist. I had my stuff up for sale up on the internet. Someone contacted me, say, I want to buy this picture. It's for my husband. He's out of the country right now, but I really want that picture. Okay. And so, they are not going to just send me $500 to pay for the painting. They're going to send me $1,000 and say, I don't know how much it's going to cost to get it to this place. I don't know what your rates are and things. So you take this money and you take care of all the stuff at your end, and then whatever's left over, just send that back to me. So, they'll send you a check for $1,000 and you do your stuff and you send them back 300 or something. Well, they have arranged it so that $1,000 check is going to bounce. It's just not going to bounce today. It'll wait a few days before it doesn't clear. The money gets taken back out of your account. You've lost that. You've lost the painting. And now you've lost the $300 you sent to the other people. So this is a very common thing. If anybody says, I will send you more money than I owe you, and you'll send part of it back, that is a fraud.
There's a similar thing with e-transfers as well. People sending each other money, and then you've got somebody who inadvertently is able to get your email address and find out that all the money somebody's sending you can be redirected to them.
Is there any good news here? Is technology,
Yes.
Okay.
I have good news. And the good news is that you're less likely to lose your information now, because let's say I want to go to check on the bank. All right. So I've got a password. I've got an ID number. I got all that stuff. I go and I do it. And then they say, second form of identification. We are going to send
two-factor
you
authentication. Yeah.
two-factor. Yes, exactly. And they'll send it to your email, or they send it to your phone or whatever. And then you have to type in the number before you can proceed. So that has cut down incredibly much on people stealing your stuff.
The same with passkey. The new thing that Microsoft, Google, and Apple and everybody are lodging onto is it's a passwordless pass. And it can identify you exactly, and it also doesn't share the information with the other end. So it's an intermediary that's automatic.
Right. Part of the problem is that works when you're engaging with the company or the interface or whatever it is in digital space. But when you're engaging with them over the phone,
Absolutely,
then those often don't work. And very often, if you're on the phone, banks or brokers will allow the use of verbal password. They'll
up here, my utility doesn't allow me to make a change on my bill or accounts or any service without knowing the 4-digit PIN.
Right.
Yeah, and it's a separate verbal password than it is the digital password. So
right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's 3-factor identification.
Right.
I did have an experience that I was a victim of fraud, and I did have a good outcome. And real briefly, I used my credit card at a fast food location, passed it to the person at the window, got the food, got my card back, went about my day. And a couple of hours later, someone had charged $250 at a grocery store. Then they paid, which was kind of funny. They paid their child care. They paid their child care. They paid groceries. They paid the cable network, the cable subscriber, and
Fill the tank with gas. Yeah.
it was around $900, and that they used. The card got frozen. I saw it and called the credit card, and all the funds were put back in my account. So
Nothing makes me happier than to get a call from my credit card company saying, "Have you had done these things recently? And
Right.
are they, because they're usually big ticket items and they're unusual, like booking a flight or something. And
Right.
they have a red flag thing where if it's this, then that, they will call you because that's what fraudsters are doing first. They check the thing to see if it works, that you haven't got a dead card, and then they go buy somebody that they owe something to, and then they go out and get something really extravagant until they run out of the money. So that three sequence is what I've get calls for many times of having dinner with friends. My phone rings and it's the credit card company. Excuse me, I better take this.
I also am a big fan of how on the phone you're able to pause a card or turn a card off or turn a card on. You know, if there have been more than a few times when we think we've lost a card and we can
Right.
pause it and then only to find it again, we can turn it back on again. Thank goodness.
Parking lot banking. Yes, I love it.
I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that I've ever had to cancel a card that I found the next day.
Are you guys aware of the Have I Been Pwned website? All you have to do is go to haveibeenpwned.com. You put in your, I have various email addresses. You put in an email address and it asks, have I been taken to the cleaners? And it'll tell you how many people have your card and have your email address. And it was part of a breach. And I had one dead email address, which I put in just today, and it had 5 breaches attached to it. One of it is Adobe. And they had lost 450 million customers' information, and my email was one of them. I don't use that anymore because the company got bought and those emails don't work anymore. But I tried it out, and it gave me 5 years of these little breaches that happened that my number was part of. So I recommend you try that and see how many of the addresses you use every day are actually part of breaches that have happened over the last 5 or 10 years. It's kept up to date too all the time.
How are you all with
I see
passwords?
what you're doing here. I see what you're doing, Dave.
Uh-oh, what are...
Mhm.
Each of these episodes weekly are just the tip of the iceberg of a conversation that you just continue to. I'm waiting for the spam. This Paskin spam is coming my way. I can feel it.
Yeah, here we go.
Because we haven't even
all
scratched the
all
top
I
of
am
this
is spam.
topic.
Hey, quick last question for you. How are you all with passwords? Are you good with, do you
Constantly
use the same one
changing
over
them.
and over and over again?
I have 280 passwords in my password manager. So I deal with a lot of different organizations and I have
And are they all
passwords for a lot
different?
of stuff. And I don't even know what they are. Like they're generated and
Don't show it. Don't show it.
Yeah, don't
Lois.
show it,
Oh,
Lois.
does it have a
Don't show it.
does it
Don't
have a
show it.
label on it that says passwords on the front of the
No,
book?
This is a book that lives in a drawer in my desk, and it has
All your information.
page has a company with my username, password, when I started, any other information about them, and it's great.
Please tell
I-
me
You
you
never
I
saw
don't
don't
Leo
digitize
I
Laporte
don't
give
put it on
Alex
the computer
Lindsay
at
a
all.
password book? Did you see
Pardon?
that? In one of the episodes with MacBreak, Leo gave Alex Lindsay a book labeled passwords, and he took it.
It's
It was
okay.
great.
It's if somebody is going to be in my house and they have my computer and they have everything and they find that password book, I am so screwed anyway, it doesn't matter.
I just hope that you have
Good
some sort of
point.
digital copy of that. So if God forbid a million times it disappears, it gets lost, it gets damaged, that you don't lose all your passwords with it.
Well, sort of. When I travel, I take pictures of the pages I think I'll need.
Yeah. I have
So-
yet to find a password manager that I can stick with. Right now I've kind of defaulted to Apple's password manager and a spreadsheet. just as a backup.
But you keep it
I
on
like
your
Yeah,
Apple's
it's better all
password
the time.
manager.
You do or you
One of
don't?
the
Yeah.
things
use-
that
I
use
use Apple's
1Password.
password manager because I am an Apple girly, so it
Yeah.
goes with me
Mhm.
everywhere.
I used to
I
use
For
use-
15
1Password.
years, I used 1Password because I did contract work and I was responsible for
Mhm.
very expensive insurance things, and so I had to have a secure password system so my laptop could not be stolen. And yeah, I use 1Password, but then it got taken over, and I moved off to Apple, and I'm quite happy doing it.
And Joe is
I'm
asking, Joe Kelly is just mentioning, who has your master password if you die? And actually, there are a couple different important pieces to set that up. You can do that with Apple and your Apple ID. You can also do that with Google. And I have it set up both ways so that when I keel over, my wife has access to everything. Anything that's of any importance is either in my Google or in my Apple. And she has both of those keys. She doesn't have them now, although it wouldn't bother me if she did, but she will have access. Not, and she actually will have access not because she'll get my master password. She'll get access simply because I've granted her access through her own account to my account
Yes.
upon my demise.
My son has all of the relevant information on a USB key that he has.
Yeah.
And I keep it up to date once a year. I send him a new one.
Tony, do you want to jump in? I'm sorry. I think I.
No, I was just saying that I use the Apple passwords for authentication for everything, but I also put some of my passwords in my Apple Notes, and then I lock that note.
Yes, I've done
And
that also.
so-
Yeah.
And so the only way that you can get into the note is to use Face ID or Finger ID.
Yeah, that's a
or-
handy tool that Notes has. That's a good call, Tony, that you can lock notes. Absolutely.
And Dave, your mother's maiden name is what?
Yeah.
And her dog is just
Well,
curious.
she left us in 2014,
Just
so
curious.
I don't worry about anyone knowing her last name.
Yeah, Joe Kelly's right. She says Joe Kelly says that my wife should have it now, the password with training. That's probably true. My wife can't remember her own passwords, much less my password. So,
David,
Lois.
can I share one last little
Please,
tip for folks?
please.
And this is something now I've had clients for a long time. And when computers came out and people started using browsers, there was something that they didn't quite understand right away. And so someone would call me and say, Lois, there's this message on my screen that says X, Y, or Z. And I'd say, scroll up and down. Does the message move? It's in the browser. Someone is trying to get you. If it doesn't move and it's on your screen, maybe it's from your computer, maybe not. Can you close the browser and see if it's still there? That sort of thing. So that whole thing about a message that you get, and this goes back to the notifications that David is getting. Is it coming from somebody on the internet trying to get you to do something? I had one client where one of these messages showed up and said, and you've got spyware or something, malware on your computer, and call this number and we'll fix it for you. She called that number, and $500 later, her computer was messed up because they did something, but it wasn't necessary, and it was quasi legal. So since she agreed to it, she couldn't get her money back.
You know what's crazy about this discussion is that everything that we've said will be out of date and sort of inapplicable in just a matter of a few years.
Years.
You know,
Hours.
because well,
Months.
right, quantum
Well,
computing.
but the old
I mean,
ones stay around.
What's coming down the pipe
same
at
games
the
get
rate that we're
played, yeah.
going, it's so fast that
Right.
probably the best advice of all is we have to always keep learning. We just have
Yeah.
to. We have to keep learning to stay as knowledgeable as we can, because the greatest
us.
threats are not necessarily the physical threats anymore. A lot of them are these. Yeah, go ahead, Lois.
And if you're not the people on this panel, but you have concerns about things, find someone who you know, who you trust, who can teach you some of this stuff, and can also be the person that You call if you have a question. I have clients that are still calling me, 10 years after I retired, and they still occasionally call and go, Lois, it said this. What do I do? Find a buddy, get a wizard.
Get a wizard.
So I just went to that site, Dave, that you
Me
gave
too.
us.
Dave.
I have been pawned in 45 data breaches.
Oh my goodness. You got some work.
And this
You
is just
win.
one email address of mine.
You win. I was at 20 data breaches. So
Really?
you again.
Tomorrow,
asking-
what's your score?
I did not do it yet. I was like
Okay.
trying to do it on the sly.
I was
You can do it in the Discord and
Adobe
tell
from
us in Discord.
2013,
I'll tell you in
XSplit
Discord.
13,
Yes,
LinkedIn
Adobe
16,
2013, me too. LinkedIn, yeah.
MySpace
Yeah.
2008. I see. I don't even use any
Wow.
of these anymore.
Isn't that something?
MySpace. Oh, the good old days.
Edmodo
Change your
Online
password,
Spam
change your
Bot,
email. Yeah.
Bitly,
Animoto.
Kickstarter.
Canva.
Wow. Oh, I'm not sure. I thought I was showing this. I have it up here.
There you go.
Epic.
It's even
House,
Under Armour and all
White
that.
Pages, Evite, Animoto,
Cafe Press. I got one of those. Yeah.
Canva.
National
I don't even
Public
know. I don't
Data.
even remember signing up for half of these.
I know.
I have no idea what this is.
I wonder what would happen if
Mine's
you put in a
22.
made-up phone number. I mean, a made-up thing.
What?
You
Say it again.
like put in Mickey Mouse at Disney.com?
Oh, you could try that. I don't know. Hey, Lois.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have the Zoom test kitchen.
We do at
we are
noon California time.
and we are going to be joined by none other than Andy Carluccio, who is
All right.
fresh back from NAB, and he's going to show us the new Zoom graphics toolkit. But the reason I'm actually mentioning this is because something was announced today that is for you on this show, Lois. Zoom announced a partnership with Stream Deck that they are creating an official Zoom Stream Deck plugin. So now with a little Stream Deck, you can always have a mute key,
I'm
a mute
so
button
excited
that'll
about
mute
this.
or unmute you, and you'll never have to worry about it again. It's
I
coming
have a
soon
mute
to
button.
a Stream
It
Deck near
mutes it
you.
on me. It's
Okay.
on my keyboard. I just
Sorry.
don't push it well enough.
It's coming soon to a Stream Deck near you, and that's his. There you go. Thank you all for being here and for having this discussion. I think I'm gonna work tomorrow a little bit. By the way, for those of you who are celebrating Passover, starting Saturday night, happy Passover. And Easter's, is it this Sunday or next Sunday?
Sunday's
Following
this Sunday,
next-
next Sunday.
The 20th.
All right, then I'll wish you all
The
a happy
20th.
Sunday, happy Easter next Sunday. If you're doing the Passover
That's
thing,
a good point.
enjoy
Monday,
your matzah.
Thursday will be next
and
week.
we'll see you on the other side of the Seders. But thank you all for spending some time with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everybody. See you later.
Bye. Bye-bye.